Welcome to the Team Destiny weekly call, and I'm super excited about this week because we have a guest speaker on here, Brianne Wetzel, who a couple of years ago I got a message through Facebook randomly from an old friend of mine, and he's like, yo, are you a Beachbody coach? And I was like, yeah, why? And he's like, oh, my wife is rocking this business. You've got to talk to her. And that's how I was introduced to Brianne. And I was so grateful because whenever I have huge questions, I'm like, hey, Brianne, I know I'm a bugger, but can you answer some questions for me? And she's always been so super awesome and nice and has helped me whenever I need to. And so she has agreed to come on and talk to us tonight about all kinds of stuff, but she said she would tell us a little better story and tell us about how to hit elite because, Brianne, you've hit elite now twice. No? Yes? Twice.
Yeah.
And you've only been, well, I'll let you tell your story, so I won't go too far into it. But I just want to say thank you for coming on here and chatting with us. And I'm going to let you just go right into it because I don't want to take much of your time away. How's that sound?
All right. Thanks for having me, guys. And I hope that I leave you with some sort of tidbits or takeaways. And yeah, if you guys do have questions, I tend to ramble. I tend to sort of jump from topic to topic pretty quickly. If you do have questions and you want to just post them, I'll try to go in order so that we don't kind of get all over the place. But yeah, like Ashley said, I signed up actually almost 4 years ago now. It was January of 2013. My mom actually was the one who brought me into the business. She is a trainer. She's a health coach. I kind of spent my whole life around health and fitness. It's something she's always been involved in that. So it's something we always sort of grew up around. It was always just sort of an integral part of our lives. And she had signed up just to really retail Shakeology to her personal training clients. And I didn't know much about it at the time. We were in a lot of trouble financially. My husband had gotten hurt. He'd been out of work for, 10 or 12 weeks at the time. And we were a one paycheck family. And when that paycheck goes away, I think everybody's sort of been through that. You're in a lot of trouble. And we had been in a brand new house. We had a new baby. And things were just really super tight. And it really wasn't something financially that I was looking for at the time. And I'd been visiting my parents and noticed the bag of Shakeology. And I asked my mom what it was. And she just went off on how I had to try it. And it was so good. And it was going to be something that was so good for me. Because busy moms, we all know the story. We never have time. We don't eat right. We don't take care of ourselves. And I immediately was one of those people who balked at the cost of it. I was like, there's no way I'm spending at the time it was $120 a bag. I'm not spending that on a bag of Shakeology. And she pointed to the $6 coffee that I had in my hand and was like, come on now. And I really was very hesitant. It took her 3 or 4 months to sort of wear me down. I finally bought a bag of Shakeology around the end of 2012. And honestly, I think what happened to me is what happens to everybody. You drink Shakeology for, a week or 2 weeks, and all of a sudden you kind of feel like Superman. You don't realize how good your body's supposed to feel, and you have all this energy, and you're sleeping better, and, we're big night snackers, and all of a sudden we notice that, our cravings at night, to sort of snack, had kind of gone away. And I had said to my husband, I think I'm going to sign up and just get the discount on this and at least, save us a little bit of money at the time. I had no interest in doing a workout program. My mom didn't know really anything about how to sign me up. She was recruited by somebody who was very high up in Narium, who is no longer with Beachbody. So she really didn't know anything about how this whole coaching thing worked. And she was like, I think you can go on the website and you pay $40 and then you get a discount on your shake. So I was one of the people that signed up for $39.95 because I didn't know any better. So I signed up and I got my shake in the mail, and I was, maybe halfway through my second bag, and I was like, I don't know. I don't really know if I want to spend another, $90 on this bag. And she had said, well, all you have to do is get 3 people to buy Shakeology and it'll cover the cost of your shake. And I was like, well, I have like 500 Facebook friends. I probably could find 3 people to buy this from me. And that really was how I started building my business. Was very simple, 3 people at a time. I didn't know much about challenge packs. I didn't know about signing up people as coaches. It was the last month before they increased the price of Shakeology, a whopping $10. So I just went out and I just started talking and I just started posting on social media about what I was drinking, how I'd been feeling. I was somebody who had suffered from migraines for years. And, it turned out I was mineral deprived. There were things in my body, minerals that my body was missing that were causing these migraines. And Shakeology sort of gave me what I needed. And I didn't need that migraine medication, things like that. And it was easy for me to share that because I loved it and because it was something that I was passionate about. And that was really how I built my business, was 3 people at a time retailing Shakeology. And, I didn't know at the time I had to start. I'm an upline that I could go to for training. My mom was as new as I was. She was perfectly happy retailing Shakeology to her clients because that's what they wanted. They had her to train them. So all they needed was the nutrition aspect for at home. So that was what she did. So I sort of followed in her footsteps. And one day I sort of had sat down, I was clicking through the back office, and I had stumbled upon the success stories tab of coaches and stuff. And I read this, stories of Mike Ryan and Brigitte Linford, who at the time sounded just like me, people who were just struggling financially and not really knowing what to do or where to go from there. And the wheels sort of started turning, and I was like, you know what, I think I can do this. And I went and I read the entire compensation plan and I read the policies and procedures, because if you're going to be in this business, you have to know how to make money. And that was it. And I was completely sold on it. And I was like, you know what, I could make this much money doing this. Like, I'm in, I'm all in. And I just sort of jumped in and never looked back. It just sort of had kind of lined up that there were things that I'd always wanted to do. I always wanted to kind of work from home. I had been in advertising before we had our girls, and those hours weren't conducive with a husband who works 75 or 80 hours a week. It just wasn't in the cards. And I just missed feeling like I had some sort of purpose and I wanted to contribute. And when I started seeing more and more of what the company was about, I really just sort of checked yes to everything that I'd been looking for. So I kind of just jumped in and never looked back. And I think the biggest turning point was I was a coach about 4 months, and I went to Summit in 2013. And if you guys are newer coaches, please go to Summit. If you've been a coach for a while, please go to Summit. It really is such a game changer, and I feel like I say it all the time, but if I hadn't really bitten the bullet and gone, I couldn't afford to go. It was such an expense for us. And I really had just said to Brett, like, I feel like I need to go. And he was like, then go. Like, we'll figure it out. If this is what you feel like you really need to do, then go. And if I hadn't gone, I don't know that I would still be here today, because it just did something for my business. It kind of made it all very real. We work behind these computers and we work by ourselves, and you may have your team, but once you're sort of around everybody and you're around the energy that sort of comes from an event like that, there's really nothing that you can kind of compare it to. So if you really are serious about this, there's plenty of time for next year. Get on the wait list, go get a ticket, earn your ticket if you're a new coach, which I wish they had that when I started, because I feel like that's the coolest thing, is that you can earn yourself a free ticket. But yeah, I mean, so, fast forward 3 years and, here we are.
Your story is awesome. I love hearing all about it. And you're actually expecting now, right?
I am. I have about 8 weeks to go. I'm due in January with number 3. So kind of getting down to the wire, but yeah.
So this has obviously completely turned your life around, and you've moved also.
Yeah.
And I just love watching your story and watching you progress. And it's exciting. I try to do what you do, but I also live a little bit vicariously through you. So it's fun to watch and to also then strive for it also. So thank you so much for telling us your story. And we want to know everything that you do. So you have about 20 minutes to just lay it out on the table for us. No, but really, we're excited to hear a lot about Elite, how you, like, what made you want to go Elite? What were the benefits that, like, drove you? You know, what did you then decide that you would do? Like, your activity plan to get there? And I think that's enough questions.
So I'll start with really what I do every day. And honestly, like, I know you guys are expecting some, like, secret sauce. Honestly, I show up. And that's really the most important thing, is I show up every day. When I'm tired, when I'm stressed, I had a really rough start to this pregnancy, a really rough start. I was incredibly sick. And for weeks at a time, I would drop the kids off at school and I would come home and I would crawl up on my giant recliner and I would sleep. And be so grateful at the same time that I had this opportunity, that this is my job, that I didn't have to get up and shower and go to work and be like a functioning member of society, because it wasn't happening. But even when I was tired, even when I didn't want to do those things, there were certain things that I did every single day. And that was show up. It was to let my social media following know that, like, I'm here, like, I'm drinking my shake, but I'm not working out. I feel like crap. All I want to eat are carbs, but I'm drinking my shake and I'm getting protein in me and I'm getting, and I'm getting the nutrients and I'm getting these things. And the most important thing is that you have to just show up every day. Like, you don't have to show up for 8 hours a day. Life happens. We all get that. But momentum builds momentum. And it's so much easier to shift course than it is to start. And that continuous start and stop will eventually just completely derail your business. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen with my own coaches who say, like, oh my God, my life's really busy. I need to take like a month off, after they've hit Success Club for like 15 months straight. And they take a month off and it takes them like 6 months to get back into it and start hitting Success Club again. Don't let that happen. So my everyday, like completely everyday non-negotiables, besides like my personal development, which is a non-negotiable, that's the the first thing I do when I get up in the morning. My shake, my workout most days now, and sort of just being around on social media. I invite every single day. I reach out to current and former customers every single day. I do follow-ups every single day. And besides all the other crap, like you check your back office, you do like all this stuff that you're supposed to do every day. How many each day? So an average day is I probably send between 15 and 30 invites a day, and I check in with between 15 and 30 customers a day. And follow-ups, I usually just set a timer, and I do, you usually do between 20 minutes and a half an hour of follow-ups during the day when I'm working. And then like if I'm working like at night, is that to a challenge group? Yeah, it's usually to a challenge group, and then I'll do separate invites for the business opportunity. So that's to a paid challenge group. And then I do usually 15 or so emails or Facebook messages, usually emails to current customers or former customers, and reach back out to them, asking them how they're doing, not inviting them to a paid group or anything, just to check in, how are you? I was going through my customer list. How is everything with you? what are you doing for nutrition? Are you doing anything to work on your fitness and things like that? Just to sort of always keep those lines of communication open. And I know customer leads, they're like hit or miss. Like there's so many that we don't always hear from. But I use Streak through Gmail, so you can actually see who's opening your emails. So even if they're not responding, I know that they're getting my emails and I know that they're seeing them. So at least when I do start to send more emails, or I send my monthly email with specials and with like, it usually has like a link to my blog with new recipes and things like that. They know who I am. They know that I'm like this real person and I'm not this robot coach that they were sort of assigned. And then the new customer leads. I mean, I make sure that, usually twice a week I reach out to them, whether it's by text or by email. But every single day, no question, you should be inviting, you should be following up, you should be sharing that you're a product of the product. I mean, that process is critical because I think so many times we've seen, we've seen people in certain direct sales or network marketing companies, and they post and they post and they post and they post about it. And then all of a sudden they just stop. And we don't know, are they still with the company? Are they just busy? We kind of don't know. I mean, I had the same road in and fields girl for a really long time, and I ran out of sunscreen and I couldn't find her. Like, I didn't know if she was still with the company. I didn't know anything. And I had another friend post and say, like, I just joined Road in and Field. And I was like, okay, good. You know what? Now she's going to get my business because she's the first person who posted about it. I remembered that I needed it. And it's very much like an instant sort of thing. 15 to 30 is way more than I'm doing. Are these to warm market, cold market, or both? So,
I think, Brianne, before you answer this, I think another big question, and this will link right into that, is when you're reaching out to people, like when you're building your relationships, are you just messaging people to say hi first and then building the relationship from there until like you talk to them a couple times and then invite them? Or are you just like, who are you deciding to reach out to, I guess is the question.
So, it kind of can go either way. And you should be adding people to your network every day. That was one thing I totally forgot. Like, you absolutely should be adding people to your network. If you guys don't use Teamsy and you're like a newer coach, it's really a great thing. You can import your whole Facebook friends list. And the great thing is Facebook only shows you like the people that you sort of interact with the most. So Teamsy will sort of let you go back to all these people and you'll be like, holy crap, I forgot I was friends with all these people on Facebook. And the other thing that it does is when it imports your list, it's everybody that you were ever friends with. So like if you're no longer Facebook friends with them, well, now you've got a list of people you can go back and request again and sort of start that conversation over again. So if I've just become friends with them, no, I don't reach out to them right away and sort of invite them. I'll add them to like an interest list, and I'll kind of go through and, start liking their pictures. I kind of will Facebook stalk them a little bit, go back a couple months, kind of see what's going on in their life, and things like that. And then eventually I'll send them an invite after a month or two of that. To challenge groups, on my personal page, it's all warm market. Any challenge group people that I have from my like page, they're all cold market. That's just like passive, people that are sort of coming in. But it's all warm market on my personal page, but it's cold invites. So I may or may not have had a relationship with them where I constantly was having a back and forth conversation. I may like some of their stuff and they'll comment on my stuff, and then I'll just send them a message inviting them. 15 to 30 is what I do. I tell my coaches that they need to do at least 2 to 5 every day. If they have a deadline that they're pushing for diamond, or they're pushing for a rank advancement by a certain amount of time, or we actually don't work towards diamond, we work towards team leader on the leadership ladder because they'll make more money that way. I tell them that they need to do between 5 and 10 a day. 5 to 10 to a challenge group, 5 to 10 to the business opportunity, and check in with 5 or so of their customers, or check into their challenge groups, and personally check in with a couple people that they're working with. And it's really just the scale that you want to invite on. If you want bigger results, you invite more people. I work 5 or 6 hours a day. So for me, that's not a lot. For somebody who only has an hour a day because they have a full-time job, that's a lot to do. So you kind of have to figure out what works for you. But you can't invite 1 or 2 people a day and expect to have, massive results. When I'm doing a cold invite, what are you saying to invite them? It's really just pretty general. It's usually just like, hey girl, like I hope that you're doing well. Like this time of year, it's like, I just wanted to reach out. We have some accountability groups that are starting to make sure everybody is really set for the holidays. If I sent you over the information, would you be willing to check it out? It's, and that's it. I mean, it's 2 or 3 lines. It's very simple. We don't want to be sending them giant paragraphs of stuff because I get messages like those and I don't read them. I mean, I see them and I'm like, click. I'm just getting my shake. I didn't have a weight loss story. I mean, I'm pregnant now, so like I'm gigantic now, but I didn't have a transformation, not at all. Mine was financial. Mine was about wanting to help people and wanting people to see that there was more than having to live paycheck to paycheck and feeling like you were stuck and feeling like you were chained to, this sort of conveyor belt life kind of thing where you just work and work and work and you don't have time to do anything, you don't have money to do anything, and there's too much month at the end of your money and like all of these things that I had constantly felt. So I never had a weight loss story. I talked about how Shakeology helped my migraines. I talked about how when I did go for blood work, it lowered my cholesterol. I used my husband because he lost 45 pounds with Shakeology. Things like that. But the cool thing about this is that it doesn't have to be your personal story. We have like a whole file folder in our team page of, transformation stories from programs to health transformations to, things like that. So share somebody else's. And just because you didn't have a transformation on the outside doesn't mean that it didn't do something to you on the inside. Somebody great to really follow for that is my friend Danielle Natoni. I mean, she never had a weight loss story, but she talked about what this opportunity did for her and how it gave her a family and how it really just took her from living a life that she really just wasn't happy with and just changed her whole way of thinking. So it doesn't always have to be a before and after photo with, photographic evidence. I mean, I'm a completely different person than I was 4 years ago because of this opportunity. You don't see it on the outside because I never had a massive weight loss story. I mean, I was somebody who had, that 5 to 10 pounds of, we like to call like vanity weight. That people who have 100 pounds to lose don't really give a shit about. Like, they don't care about that. So my advice is talk to people and just say, it doesn't matter, but Shakeology keeps you healthy. It doesn't matter if you need to lose weight or not. My business invites. I am very cautious to who I invite to the business opportunity because I think that people don't necessarily understand it. I think people tend to think of this as a get-rich-quick scheme, and we all know that it's not. But I think that's just sort of the nature of the beast with this business. So I do very specific. I don't do one-on-one invites to the business opportunity. I tend to do sponsored ads and sponsored posts about the business opportunity, and they center around income. Because if people are looking for a business opportunity, they don't care if you lost 30 pounds. They don't care if you lost 50 pounds. They want to know how your life has changed. And that's really what I tend to talk about, is, how I've been able to, stay home with our girls, how we've been able to move, how we've been able to, pay off our debt and, take our kids on vacations and make the memories that we've made and do the things that we want to do. Because it's not about the money, but it's about what the money gives you, which is the freedom and the time to be able to do these things. So that's really what I tend to focus on. And that all comes solely from my like page. I tend to do all of that over there because you can sort of like track everything and target people and all that sort of stuff. What else was I supposed to talk about? Sorry, I told you I get like all over the place.
This is so perfect. I think everybody is very excited about what you're talking about. So you're good. We could literally listen to you rattle off things all night long, but I know that some people have to get off of here. So you gave some awesome advice. Just the, showing up every day is so important for people to understand, because you're right, that little bit of time can just throw everybody off track for so long, and it takes forever to get back on. The everyday non-negotiables, sharing other people's stories instead of yourselves. That's so key. I love it. Love it. Love it. Can you tell me a little bit about, okay, so when you hit, I want to try to get back to the elite just because we asked you to take. Did you set a goal to do that, or were you doing your daily activities that you kind of just went in the direction of elite?
So it kind of went both ways. It started kind of organically. I really didn't know what it was. And I was a brand new diamond. I was at my first summit in 2013. And I walked into the core, and there's all these stars on the ground and everybody's names are on them. And I was like, how do I get one of these? Like, what are these? How do I get one? These are cool. And somebody was like, oh, but you have to be elite to get them. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do that. Like, I'm one of those people, like, tell me I can't do something, give me a challenge, give me a goal, give me something to work towards, and just sort of like point me in the direction, and I will just sort of like figure out a way to get there. I was a brand new diamond. I knew nothing about this whole end of it. And Christy Kronzer is actually a cross-line coach from me. And I reached out to her after Summit, and I had to, I'm curious about this elite thing. I don't know what it is, but I saw your name, and it was before she was married. I said, I want to do it. How do I do this? And she said, well, it's July, so it's kind of late to start, and you have to be a 5-star, and you're not. And you don't have any people that are even close to diamond. So, but you can understand the point structure of it and how it's sort of based. And at the time I was obviously brand new. So I only had my personally sponsored coaches, and I had, maybe 3 or 4 emeralds at that time. And she said, it's how much PV your coaches do and how often your coaches hit Success Club. And then it's the volume of your whole team. And I remember reading the elite qualifications and being like, oh my gosh, you only get 1 point for every 10,000 of your ATV. Like, that's going to take me forever. How long is it going to take me to get to 10,000? Like, the number to me was such a foreign concept. And we really started talking about it in, I don't remember, it was September or October of 2013. And she said, if you sort of get your shit together now, you really could just set yourself up to do it next year. And I was like, okay, tell me what I need to do. And and honestly, guys, this is doable for anybody. I know that the top 10 make it look like it's incredibly difficult. If you're focused and you're consistent, you can do it. And what she always said to me was, sponsor 3 to 5 coaches a month and help 3 to 5 coaches hit Success Club. And if you can do that every single month of the year, organically, your business is just going to grow. Focus on the correct behaviors. And they sort of change the requirements every year. So I don't know what they're going to do for 2017. They've been the same 2014, 15, and 16 so far. The points have changed. In 2013, you needed 100 points. And I remember looking at the end of the year, and I had like 90. And I was like, oh, so if I do this again next year and I get all my diamonds, I could do this and I could be elite. They changed it in 2014 to, I think you needed 120 or 125. And the last 2 years, it's been 135 that you need. But if you go into your back office, and actually if you're a lifetime diamond or higher, you actually can go into your back office and check and see where you are in the rankings and check your points. It's all in your back office, so you can sort of see the breakdown of your points and how that all works. The structure is the same for Premier and Elite. I know Elite has caps on some of the categories, like you have to earn some from each of the 3 categories. And you have to be a 5-star or above, and Premier is 2-star, I believe, and above. But yeah, I mean, I had realized that I was so close that first year just with the points. I didn't have the diamonds, but I was like, I'm clearly doing the right things. So if I just focus on this, we could do it. And it really just became this thing for me that I was like, you know what? I just said that I was going to do this. So now I'm going to go do it. And I had people tell me that they didn't think I could do it. I didn't come from a large team. I didn't have a big team. I didn't have an active sponsor. My mom had to quit because she had like this whole conflict of interest with the gym she was working with. She has since come back, but at the time she had quit. So I had like no sponsor. And there were a lot of people who were like, are you going to do it? And for somebody like me, that tends to fuel it. But if you're serious about it, you have to just be consistent, and you've got to get yourself in that place now. Because if you get yourself in that place at the end of January, it's too late. You've already missed a month of working towards that goal. So it's important that if it's a goal for you, you talk with your current coaches now, because one of the categories will then rely on your 2016 and 2017 coaches to hit Success Club. It'll be this is the way it is this year. It's the PD from your 2016 personally sponsored coaches. It's the coaches that you've signed up in 2015 and 2016 that hit Success Club. And then it's your ATV, which is your advancement team volume year over year from last year. And that's your first 3 levels of sponsorship. So if you're somebody whose your levels of sponsorship go 5, 6, 7, 8 levels, and they don't all count. So your team volume that you see is not necessarily what your ATV is week by week. I mean, that's sort of like the basics of it. But the cool thing is now is they have all these trackers that corporate has that they didn't have. I mean, I keep track of mine on a whiteboard. Corporate has these great trackers that you can use. They're probably in the back office somewhere in the training that you could print out, and it actually shows you. It's called the Elite Goal Guide. And it shows you if you break down those points month by month, here's exactly what you need. And here's what you need to do every month, to hit that goal. So, I mean, I hit it in 2014. And after that, it just sort of became, it became as much of a non-negotiable for me as Success Club. Because if I have coaches on my team who want to achieve those goals, I've got to be the one to be there first. They're excited that we're an elite team. So if they want their teams to be elite, I've got to make sure that I hold up my end and I show up every day, because that's the proof that my team is growing year over year and that my coaches are performing year over year.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm just looking to see if there's more questions. What would be the best approach to inviting on your like page versus your personal page? So I actually post pretty much exclusively only on my like page. I do share the majority of the stuff to my personal page still. But I do a lot of my inviting from my personal page, because you can't start a message to somebody from your like page. It's like this weird thing with the like pages, and it's very annoying and very frustrating. So unless they comment on something on my like page, I can't send them a message. Like, I have to wait for them to message me. So I usually, if I have somebody who is interested, I'll tell them to message my page, or that I've sent them a friend request from my personal page. And then that way I can like Facebook message back and forth, or get their email, or do, kind of whatever. That's sort of like the frustrating thing about it, is you can't directly message people from your like page. Like, you can't just click on somebody that likes your page and send them a message. So I always have to either invite from my personal page if I'm doing personalized invitations, or I've got to send them a friend request and bring them over to my personal page before I can message them. Does that make sense? Okay.
So we had another question that's not in here, but okay. What advice would you give for all new coaches, brand new coaches?
Give it a year. Don't give it a year. Like, seriously, give it a year. Don't give up. Work your business for a solid year and see where you are. Because I think that a lot has changed, not even so much in Beachbody, but in social media, I think a lot has changed. I definitely have seen a shift in how I tend to invite over the last couple of years, how people run their businesses differently in the last couple of years. And it just has to do with how social media has changed, how we sort of get out there. We didn't have Beachbody on Demand, when I started. So everything was slightly different. But give it a year, because I think that if you're serious about this business and you don't give it a year, you're doing yourself a huge disservice and a huge disadvantage by not really giving it a fair shot. Show up every day and give it a year. And if in a year you don't feel, I'm not even talking about income, if in a year you don't feel like you're a better person than you were a year ago, then quit. But if you're still sitting here in a year or 6 months from now and you're frustrated because maybe it's a slow time of year, or maybe you lost a customer that you've been working with, or your business just isn't where you sort of planned it was going to be, let me tell you something. Failure is the key to success in this business. Like, I try to tell my kids this. They don't understand it. They think they have to be perfect. And I'm like, do you know how many times we all fail in this business? Constantly. I've missed more goals than I've hit in this business. People show you the stats and people show you the things, but you don't see the hidden hours, and you don't see the work that it takes to get there, and the failures, and the nights in December that I would be up crying with glasses of wine to my husband, like, I can't do this. I don't want to push for elite. It's so difficult. It's so hard. And he would say, like, you worked all year. You stick it out, like, suck it up and go back to work. But if you feel like your life has changed, whether it's the people that you meet, the health that you've gained, the weight that you've lost, the income that you've made, why would you want to deprive anybody of that? Why would we want to deprive anybody of that opportunity? So when you're afraid to send an invite to somebody, think about that. I mean, what if your coach was afraid to invite you? And where would you be? So I guess, be here in a year. That's really the best thing that I can say, because you have to give this a fair shot. And I don't mean sign up, drink your shake, do nothing for a year, and then be like, I didn't make any money and this business doesn't work and it sucks, and then quit, because that's crap. Show up every day, work your business, be resourceful. Look for, if you don't know the answer to something, ask. If you're struggling with something, find help, find a success partner. But give it a fair shot for a year. And if you don't feel like you're a better person, then maybe it's not the right place for you. But I do think that all new coaches, and I say this to my team too, and I mean, some of them listen and some of them don't, but you really have to give it a solid year in this business and make it through all 4 seasons of this business and all of the ups and all of the downs, and you sort of see how it all works. And then if it's not working for you, then say, you know what, maybe it's not working for me. Maybe I just need to be a discount coach. Maybe I just need to drink my Shakeology. But you won't know unless you try. So, yeah, I mean, give it a year, because a lot can change in a year. I mean, if I look at some of my coaches that started and hit the ground running, to see where they are a year later is, it's pretty crazy. So you have to show up. I think that's the biggest thing.
Okay, we have 2 last questions for you.
Okay.
One is, can you tell us some of the awesome, shiny, elite goodies? And then the other one is, just like Jeff Hill asks on the end of every national wake-up call, what have you seen as the big difference between before you became a Beachbody coach, and what has it brought? How have you changed from then till now? Like, what has been the big life-changing, like, how have you changed?
Oh my God. I mean, our whole life is different. I mean, we were living in this tiny house in this tiny town in northwestern Connecticut, where it snowed all the time and it was cold and we were cranky and we were miserable. And my husband worked 80 hours a week, and there was still never enough money to do anything. We were deep in debt. I wasn't overweight, but he was. I don't think either one of us were incredibly healthy. And we just sort of had that mentality, like, this is sort of resigned to be our life. You know, we're going to be those people who will never really get ahead, will get a tax return, and we'll pay off a credit card. And then 3 months later, something's going to happen, and then we're going to be back in debt again. And, you know, we're not going to be able to take vacations. We're not going to be able, we're not going to be able to afford to have him take time off. And I think all those common things that people sort of feel when they're stuck. And I mean, if I look at where we are now, you know, we just decided that, you know, last spring, I hated where we were living. I was not happy there. Neither one of us were happy there, but I was ready to be out like a year before he was. And, you know, he got a job offer down here. We live just north of Dallas, last summer. And, on a whim, basically, I mean, we flew down here, picked out a house, and because of the income with Beachbody, just because we were able to pay off debt and have an extra full-time income, we could say, you know what, let's just get a house, we'll rent, we'll figure it out, we'll sell the house there eventually. We still haven't sold the house there. I mean, we're here a year. That's another story for another day. But, you know, we have paid off pretty much all of our debt. We have less than $1,000 left in student loans. We're here, we're present. I mean, we love where we live. We love our life. We love what we do. He has a great job that allows him to just say, I'm going to take a couple of days off unpaid and I'm going to do this. And we don't have to sort of just worry about those things. We're able to be present for, you know, ballet recitals and things like that, and things that I would sort of have to like rush to, and he always missed. So it's a complete 180 from where we were 4 years ago. It's just, you know, and as far as the goodies, oh my God, they spoil us. They really do. This was that massive poster. Well, the canvas. That was one of our, that was from Summit this year. Last year we had posters, which I have one here, and then we had the guitars, which is in the back of my office. Those are like the big things that they send at Summit. We've got jackets. They send you, I'm like looking at all this stuff. It's like a freaking museum in here. You'll get elite medals. The coolest things, honestly, is like you get to register early for shit. Like, honestly, that's the best thing. Like when everybody's going crazy about the Success Club trip, I'm like, I registered like a week ago and it was like 8 hours after registration started. I forgot about it, and you can still go in and not have to be stressed about it. Like, to me, that stuff is the coolest stuff. Like, I don't care about the gifts. I mean, they're nice and we appreciate them so much and I love them, but like, give me stuff that's going to save me time. So like when you get to skip lines at stuff and you get to register early, like to me, that's the most exciting thing. You do get a cash bonus every month that you're elite. Depending on where you finish in the rankings, it's either $100 or $500 a month, every month of the year that you hit Success Club. So that's a pretty cool perk. You'll get sneak peeks to the new workouts. You'll get sneak peeks into them earlier before everybody else. We used to get the DVDs. Now they just put it on BOD for us. But all year long, like they send us goodies in the mail. Like last year before Summit, they sent us all like a big package of like Derm exclusive. They send us performance line stuff. We were all able to be in the test group for the performance line last year before it rolled out, all the elite coaches. I'm trying to think. I feel like every time they send us a lot of stuff and they take really good care of us. There's an elite night at Summit. There's an elite night before leadership. There's elite receptions like on the Success Club trip and things like that. But for me, the most exciting thing is to see my team excited about it, which is why I think these giant pop art canvases, like as shocking as they were to see, they're the coolest things. Because they put our team names on the bottom of them. So for me, that was like the best thing because I could take it back and I could show my team like this was a goal that we all worked for. And while they may give me the title, it has very little to do with what I do. I mean, I show up every day and I do the work and I put in the time, but unless I had coaches who were willing to sort of believe in that vision, that doesn't happen. So for me, that was the most important thing. How long did I work the business until I saw real money? Well, it depends on what you mean by real money. I mean, I have coaches who I was broke. So for me, making $50 a week was real money. I mean, that paid for gas in my car. I started working the business about 6 or 7 weeks after I actually signed up. And after that, I never went without a paycheck. I mean, I had a paycheck every week. I will tell you that the first 3 years I went to Summit, with the exception of this year, every single year my income doubled coming out of Summit. The first year it tripled coming out of Summit. And that's just momentum. So it honestly, the harder you work, the more money you're going to make. I mean, we can't guarantee income. You guys know that. But I mean, it really depends on what you mean by real money. For me, once I hit that, $200 or $300 a week, I think was when my husband was like, okay, hold on. Like, I think there's actually something to this. And he stopped being so skeptical about the whole thing. But it's all relative. It kind of depends on what you're looking for. I mean, if you were a stay-at-home mom making $0 and now you're making $100 a week, I mean, that's money. That's enough to cover, a car payment or your cell phone bill or groceries or, it all just kind of depends on what you think you would consider real money. I mean, I consider anything real money, but
Awesome. Brianne, thank you so much for being on the call with us. How far away did you say you were? 8 weeks? No.
I have about 8 weeks to go. Yeah, I'm due right after the first of the year. So it's going to be an interesting end of the year, push for us. But
I'm so excited for you guys.
Thank you.
So cool. So guys, if you don't have any other questions, we kind of ran pretty late because we're just so excited to talk to you. But I'll let Brianne go because I'm sure you're probably tired. Well, actually, you're an hour difference.
We're an hour, yeah. It's about 8:45, 10 to 9 here.
I'm going to stop the